And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. With me, I have Nick Kafkis with me. Say hello to everybody.
How's it going, guys?
And I have Charlie, as always, with me. And then Clayton is running a little late and everything, but that's perfectly fine here. So tonight, we're actually reviewing the 2021 film Shang-Chi. This is actually kicks off the Marvel movies and stuff like that for the month of September, whenever this was released. I, on the other hand, haven't even gotten a chance to see this until now. So I'm actually privileged to be able to watch this and everything. Would I have liked to see this in theaters and see those wide angle shots and stuff like that? Absolutely. Because I feel like this is like a movie going experience that I needed to experience inside the theater versus watching it at the comfort of my own home. But the fact that I got to see it, I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I'm just going to give a little bit of synopsis just in case people doesn't know what this is about. But thousands of years ago, when Exo Wenwu discovers the mystical Ten Rings, which grants the immunity and godly powers, he establishes the Ten Rings organization, conquered kingdoms, and topping governments through history. In 1996, Wenwu searches for Talo, a village said to harbor mystical beasts. He travels through a magical forest to the village entrance, but is stopped by a guardian named Ying Li. And so that's where we start our adventure off at. So I like how you have this guy who is nothing but power. That's all he's after is power. He conquered everything on earth that he can conquer. So it's like, what can I do from here? Then he finds out about this village, and so in 1996, he flies to that village. And of course, I love the special effects whenever he's lost within the jungle and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And then finally, he actually sacrifices his own people and stuff like that too, because the way that the trees and everything else is moving is actually causing him to go off the course to that village, because the village is actually trying to protect it from being known. And then finally, he actually winds up jumping out of the Jeep, and then he winds up discovering Ying Li. So the thing that I liked about the battle between Ying Li and him, it has this crunching tiger, hidden dragon kind of feel to it.
Mhm.
And also too, it has this element. It feels like Magic the Gathering kind of thing, where you have the elemental of wind, you have this other elemental with the rings, and I love it. I love how the two of them uh, is more cohesive together, and it's like, who's gonna win, power over earth or stuff like that. So I definitely like that aspect to it. And like I said, it had that crunching tiger, hidden dragon thing. I liked how he thought he was powerful because he had the rings. But
Mhm.
then when she started kicking his ass through the way that she was doing things and stuff like that, he's like, okay, maybe I overestimated
Mhm.
myself here and stuff like that, because I know I can't take over the way I want to take over. What happens is he winds up falling in love with her, and then next thing you know, he winds up getting married, and then they have two kids. And I definitely love the introduction into Chang Li. But what about you guys?
You go ahead first, Sean.
You can go ahead, Nick.
Yeah, I mean that whole intro is just spectacular, and to see it in theaters, I know you didn't like the sound engineering behind it too. I mean everything from the wind to the trees swooshing to the rings themselves when he finally uses them for the first time. It all just shook the entire theater and added to the overall experience. But I thought, they really played on a lot of the motifs that were established early on with the genre of this type of movie. So I loved that. And I just thought that, the choreography and the sequencing and everything, it laid out a story that really kind of hooked me in, even though it's not core to what the actual plot is down the line.
Um,
Definitely.
I, yeah, I was skeptical in this movie. I mean, John and I have done trailer reactions to this. I was not sold on this. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, the fight sequences I knew were gonna be good, but is the story gonna be cohesive? What's really going on? Is Aquafina gonna be like obnoxiously funny in this? This like that this is like I had a lot of doubts about this, and then when I saw this in the theaters, like the opening sequence, I was like, whoa, like him just destroying the army with the rings. Like he took out at least 20 to 30 guys just with that one move.
Yeah.
And then my brother and I laughed when he just killed his own people by
Mhm.
sacrificing. Or I'm gonna jump out of the car. Screw you guys.
Mhm.
I'm saving myself. And then him jumping out of the car while his other people just get munched by the jungle.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said earlier, the choreography for this fight choreography, I've seen a lot of these directed DVDs like directed video choreography. Oh my god, the choreography is absolutely horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
There's the occasional one that I watch. I think this a lot of Scott Adkins stuff. When a lot of Scott Adkins stuff, the choreography is really good, but the plot sucks. I think the decent one I just watched was Ninja 2.
Mm-hmm.
But the choreography for that is just like awesome. Which is and then for something like this, a Marvel movie to have really good fight choreography. I mean, we haven't gotten that since I would say probably Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier had a lot of good like hand to hand combat, and we haven't had really that good fight choreography in a long time. So to have this, like seeing this, like we'll get into it, but the opening bus fight sequence, how everybody seems to be, we got to do shaky cam. Shaky cam doesn't really do anything. It really like takes you out of the scene. The fact that this was cohesive was like phenomenal, and then we'll get into it. But yeah, I thought the opening was great. At that again, I was blown away by how great this movie was. I did not think
dark it was off the bat. You know,
yeah,
like it's coming in. He's not just some like power hungry guy. He pays assassins. They're altering governments. You know, changing the course of history through murder. It's not like they're playing games here. This is by far the darkest intro, I think, in at least for a human story within the Marvel universe.
For a human standpoint, most definitely.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, and I definitely have to agree with Brandy though. The special effects were phenomenal with it as well, because her and I were both watching this Sunday, and we were just amazed with the special effects and stuff like that, especially with the mixing with the surround sound and stuff like that with the trees and stuff. I wish I could have actually experienced that, but I didn't. But you know, going back on what you said, Nick, though, with this being a dark intro for an origin story, I like the fact that they kept it dark like that and explained the corruption, explaining that how he took over and how he's training assassins, and also too why he's looking for this village. Not only was he looking to he conquered everything on Earth, but he was looking to conquer that village so he can take that village over and train more assassins with that group of people. And the motivations there, to me, the scariest person that is the most scariest thing for a villain is to have their intentions where they think that they have the best intentions for themselves, and they make him that much dangerous to me. And this actually feels like he has the best motives for himself and is very dangerous because he's high on the fact that he wants to take over this village. But it has like a little bit of yin and yang whenever he meets up with Shang-Chi's mom. He's like, you know what? I'm going to put my rings away and I'm not going to try and do this anymore. It was like a little bit.
Chakra.
Yeah, exactly. So it felt like a little bit of yin and yang, basically, the light into his darkness. And so he retired greed and corruption to take care of his kids and stuff like that. Then once his mom winds up passing away, that's when he starts trying to train Shang-Chi. We see the abuse that he went through as a kid. We see the whole entire thing play out with him being trying to be an assassin, trying to please his dad. He thinks that this is the motivation that to be honest with you, he thinks that he's doing something right because his dad is telling him to do it. He's believing everything his dad is telling him at first. And then I just felt bad too because of the fact of the abuse that he took. And especially when one of the villains who has like the paint on his face and stuff like that, when he's beating him upside the stomach with that I forgot what it's called, but he was beating him upside the hit up. He was beating him up with it. I definitely thought that was intense, to be honest with you, to see someone abusing their kid in that kind of way to get what they want.
Builds character.
It does. And also too, another thing I want to mention is this: Wenwu abandons, like I said before, he ended up abandoning the leadership of the organization. It locks away the 10 rings of the power and immortality it grants when Shang-Chi is 7 years old. Li is murdered by Wenwu's enemies, the Iron Gang. When Wenwu dons the 10 rings, once again massacres the Iron Gang and resumes leadership of his organization. He makes Shang-Chi undergo brutal training in martial arts, like I mentioned, but does not allow excellent. How do you say her the sister's name? I don't want to butcher it.
One sec.
I'm not.
Zealing.
Zayling
Xiling.
to be a part of this or anything like that, because I think it has a lot to do with the fact that she's his daughter and doesn't want her involved in anything that they are being a
Mhm.
part of. So therefore, because she's a woman, he doesn't want her to be taught in the ways of being an
Mhm.
assassin. He wants something more for her. Versus Shang-Chi, who is basically the father is just wanting him there to be an assassin,
He's
and
a
especially
first-hand witness to it, really. I mean, he brings him once he
Mhm,
gets his revenge on the Iron Gang. Who's there witnessing Dad murder all of these people?
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi.
And I liked how we saw that and through the lenses of Shang-Chi. And
Mhm.
he looked horrified at first. Like he was
Mhm.
shocked to see what his dad does in order to conquer other places and stuff. And seeing that,
Mhm.
he was just shocked with it.
He knows it's not right.
Right.
Why?
That's at an early age, but he then all of a sudden he just starts being programmed to do what his dad's telling him to do. And then something just clicks to the point. It's like, you know what? I don't want to live this life anymore.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go away and you do your thing, I do my thing, kind of thing, and that's it. And he tells his sister, "Look, I'll be back in about 2 weeks, and I'll be back for you." But he never returns. And matter of fact, I liked how they built that up as well, where now there's beef between the brother and sister
Mhm.
and things like that. And it also goes into the modern day setting where Shang-Chi wakes up and then and of course the mother winds up giving him the amulet around her neck, but we don't know what that actually symbolizes until like later on, that there's some symbolization with it, especially whenever Shang-Chi is about to get robbed on the train.
Mhm.
But I like the back and forth between Shang Li uh and also to the boyfriend and between her and Shang Chi.
Mhm.
Katie. It was Katie and he wasn't known as Sun Shi yet. It was
Sean.
Sean.
You changed your name from Shang-Chi to Sean.
Yeah.
Great line.
Yeah, that was hysterical.
Like going from Michael to Michael.
Yeah,
Like vagina.
like Gina to Gina,
Right.
Gina to Gina.
Gina to Gina. But yeah, I wanted to go back earlier. It was like discussing about like the openings.
Mhm.
This was a dark opening, but I think for me this year, the darkest MCU opening has got to be Black Widow. That one for me was the most like intense opening I've seen ever in a Marvel movie. Like this one was pretty intense, but I got to give it to Black Widow for the opening because I mean this how intense that sequence was. Plus the soundtrack like really heightened that sequence for me. But yeah, I mean I thought Tony Lung, he's the actor that played the father in this.
Mhm.
Fantastic villain in this. Like the
Mhm.
MCU, just like the DC universe, has a villain problem. They don't have good character developed villains.
Mhm.
This one is the first MCU one where I had like there is a villain that actually is like, wow, they're
You almost
really good.
cheer for him at times.
Yeah,
You know?
I
At
mean,
least
and
tell him
that,
the
so
story.
yeah, it was great. I thought he did a fantastic job because that's the hard problem is getting movies with really good villains.
Mhm.
Like, don't ask DC. DC doesn't even know what a villain is. Like, I mean, it's just, I mean, we're not gonna get
Or
a
what kind of shots are important.
yeah. Well, so yeah,
Yeah.
I had that, but yeah, I just felt the first time you see Sean, he's working like you think he's coming out of the car, and it's just it's just some other gentleman. They're just a valet,
Mhm.
and it's funny because those red vests that they were like the color of it was a trigger because that's the type of vest I wear for my job. So I was like trigger.
That could be you. You just
No,
need
I don't want to park cars. I don't want to have to do a
No,
snotty
it could be
people.
you, Charlie and the Ten Rings.
Mhm.
You could be the
But
chosen one.
and then
Charlie and the
Katie
10
and then this Aquafina, I mean I got to give her props in this one. I was worried about her if she was going to keep doing her obnoxious comedy in this. She was fantastic in this movie.
Mhm.
She did comedy and when she did it, it was actually that worked. It stuck with the film. It was the comic relief. But when it was serious stuff, she didn't break a joke or crack a joke, and that's what I really appreciate. Like that she
She showed
did. I
her
mean,
range for sure.
yeah.
Also,
Okay, Nick, sorry.
he bets against him in the ring.
Yes. Where'd you get all that money? You bet on me? I don't know what
No.
you're talking about. And she put it in her
Yeah.
fanny pack. But then that's like the whole like her sequence were like that. But I think I thought the bus sequence was fantastic, but funny at the same time. It's like yo, what's up? I'm a YouTuber. I'm like I took some martial arts classes too, so I can try to grade this.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
I don't know what I'm talking about. So it's like, what's up? What's up? I'm still alive. Hey, what's up? What's up? And my people are walking by his camera. I'm like, what's up? The YouTuber.
Another thing I thought that was funny too was he says, "Hey, you got this, man. You got this." And then all of a sudden, you see the big dude with the machete blade that comes out of his right hand. He goes, "Never mind, dude. You don't have it." But
I
I
mean,
definitely like that actor though. He played on
Yeah.
the show You
okay.
with Joe Go. He actually played the bookkeeper over there with Joe Goldberg. Someone that well, basically they sell books in the first season.
Mhm.
So I thought that was actually pretty cool that he was actually in this movie. But
Yeah.
also too, I want to go back with what Brandy said though. She said that Samuel Liu, I think that's how you say his name.
Simu.
Yeah. Uh, basically, he was also in a little small Netflix sitcom show called Kim's Store,
Mm.
which is actually a good series, by the way.
He's gonna be hosting SNL this weekend.
Oh, is
Oh,
he?
nice.
I believe so. I don't watch SNL. It does.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm a Mad TV guy,
I
so
gotcha.
yeah.
But
So I just thought that was funnier. But I know he's hosting SNL. But go ahead.
but no, but also too, I mean, I like how also too, where Katie and her parents, they're like, well, aren't you gonna be doing something more with your life than parking valet cars and things
Mhm.
like that? Don't you want to have a nice life? Because I do have a nice life. I park cars for a living. That's what I do.
Hmm.
And then she looks at Sean. She goes, what are you gonna do? He goes, we're gonna go park cars. And she goes, you don't support me on anything I do. And then the brother goes, I support you. Parking cars is hard to do. Thank you, little bro.
You'll get that license in no time.
But that was actually a part two where I thought they had one of the best tie-ins to the MCU overall, where she's like, we live in an age where a snap of a finger can eliminate half the universe.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
and then the posters right before he gets to the apartment
Mhm.
is surviving the blip. So that
Yep.
was like doing that. But I want to talk about the sequence before we get to that, which I think that was just a nice little funny break. Is like they have the double date, like the double dinner. I think it was like her friend, and like she was a partier, and like, well, are you gonna do something with your life? And she's just being kind of like a snotty bitch or whatever. She's like, what, like that? I'm like, well, I can do something with my life, and it's like, yeah, we got the early shift. We got to go home.
Mhm.
We got to get something. Like, yeah, you're right. Or and then they're partying and doing karaoke. I just want anytime that you say "or," that happens, and we'll get to that later on with the post-credit sequence. I thought that's the sequence of them just partying. Like I thought that was hysterical. It was kind of like it was before shit hits the fan in a sense, and I thought that sequence was so funny. And then the grandma was asking, "When are you two getting married?" He goes, "Oh, we're just friends." But yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna be friends for like probably the rest of their lives because of what happens towards like with the post credit scene. But we'll get to that. But then he's like, "Yeah, what's up, bro?" And he's like, "Yeah, well, bro, don't worry, you'll get your you'll pass your driver's license soon." And she just takes a shot at him and just opens the door, and then the fight, and then the sequence on the them, and then this the comment she makes. Oh, look at this business person. She's typing a report like on a laptop or whatever. And I think she makes some snot comment.
Yeah,
I
she
forgot
said
what it
that's
is.
what my mom wants me to be.
Yeah.
That's the future version of me.
Mhm.
Oh yeah, no, that's why my mom popped out of like, and then she made a
That's
dirty
the girl
joke.
that popped out of my mom's vagina. Is what
Yeah.
she says.
That's what she wanted me to be.
Maybe.
And then all of a sudden the guy gets up in the Sean's face and he goes, let me get that pendant. And he goes, I don't know. And she's like, do you know him? No, I don't know him. And then as soon as he puts his hands on Katie, Sean goes in the full, like, he's going to kick your ass mode. And again, that was phenomenally well shot. Like seeing that sequence in the theater, it was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, it was really, really cool to see. Again, the choreography was top notch in this movie.
The other fight scene I thought was spectacular pretty early on too was when the sisters club gets attacked.
Oh,
they're on the bamboo scaffolding.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
The one thing I have one issue with the scene when Aquafina is
Dangling from the bamboo.
Yeah.
Dangling, she like bobs really hard, right?
Mhm.
She'd fall.
She
Yeah.
would. Number
Like, she
one,
still knew
the
just
only thing I
2
can think
hands.
of was Rush Hour 2. Bamboo, very strong. It won't break. That's like the first thing that I was
Mhm.
thinking whenever she was hanging from the bamboo. But we all know that something like that, she would actually fall.
Yeah.
But
That's
the
shocking.
thing that I liked about the sister owning the underground club like that,
Mhm.
it goes to show woman of power and her being able to build something from the bottom up.
Mhm.
And that's something that I really loved about it, was the fact that you have a woman who wasn't supposed to be trained by her father. So what she does is she goes on ahead and makes an underground fight club,
Mhm.
and uses it to her advantage. And she winds up taking over what her dad built later on.
Mhm.
And I like that. I like how she comes up from nothing, and then she's like, you know what? I was not trained to be an assassin, but every single day I'm going to train, I'm going to kick some ass, I'm going to do everything I have to do so I can be better than my dad is.
And
And
there's a
so
lot
she
of
wants,
money doing it.
yes, having money doing it. But yeah, I
But
like it
also,
though.
The
and then
long.
also, there's a little some Easter eggs within that little Fight
Mhm.
Club area. So when they're walking, you see this gentleman. And he's like all like puffed up red, and he's like that. That's Iron Man 3 reference right there. With the kind of like the Guy Pearce character,
Oh
Mhm.
yeah.
Kit Rich or something. I forgot his name, but how he turned Pepper into
Mhm.
that type of a beast.
Mhm.
That was in one of the minor arenas.
Yeah.
And the other little Easter egg, one of the other fighters, she was all dressed in, she was all black. That was a Black Widow. That was a Black Widow person. One of the people that,
Really?
yeah, those
Well,
are
then
one
we
of
had
the
the big fight, and
Yeah.
then Wong.
Juan and the
Abomination.
Abomination.
Yeah, that
That
was
was
awesome.
awesome to see Abomination back in this
Mhm.
again, because I was like, I don't think that the Incredible Hulk, the 2007 movie or 2008 film, is part of the MCU. Yes, he's part of the MCU.
Mhm.
Why else would you see Colonel Flag show up later on
Mhm.
and everything too? So it makes sense for the Abomination to be back in it.
Mhm.
Oh, John, I
And
don't think it was
so,
Colonel Flag. I think it was Commander Ross.
yeah,
Flag
Ross,
is
Commander
DC.
Ross.
Yeah,
Sorry, I did a
Flag's
mixed
DC,
universe. My bad, guys.
and it's
But
a different comic. It was DC Comics.
Wrong
right.
universe, man. Go back to your bubble.
But it's good to see some kind of connection to Ross, and to see the Abomination be back on the screen again, and then uh seeing Wong fight up against him, and then using his powers against the Abomination to take him down was just awesome. And then I also like the banter that he has. He goes, "You really have to learn how to handle yourself better. You're embarrassing me." And he's dragging him
Mhm.
back into the portal. But my question is this: where I was trying to zoom in as close as I can as to where he was going with him, but I can't make out where he was going to with that portal, or where
New
he was
York.
going.
He's just that sewer gator they always talk about.
Yeah,
But a lot bigger.
okay,
Like a
that's what I
lot.
thought. But still, it was good to see them doing that back and forth. And then, of course, you had the battle between Shang-Chi
Mhm.
and also uh,
His sister.
his sister, which I thought was great for them to have that fight battle and everything. Of course, I like how they said, "Oh, busboy, guess what? You actually signed the paperwork. You're actually our headliner. Oh, don't worry about these guys down here. You're above them." And then of course that's where we wind up seeing Wong and everybody else, and then you
Mhm.
find out within a few minutes that he's fighting against his own sister. So his
And
own
he's
sister had this
shirtless.
thing rigged from the beginning to take him down,
And he's
Yeah.
shirtless.
and he's
And
shirtless.
she's like, "Where's your shirt?
Mm.
You got
Everybody
this."
won.
Yeah,
Everybody
and
won.
she's just sipping there, sipping her drink, and then he finds out she bets on him, bets against him. I thought that was hysterical.
That was actually pretty funny. And then of course he's like, "Look, I know we had our problems before," and then he's getting his ass kicked and everything. And then finally the match is over with, and then that's when we see Katie with the money.
Yeah,
And he goes, "You bet against me?" Yeah.
and she puts in her fanny pack.
Which is hilarious. That's like a good callback to the 90s, where everybody had a 90s pack.
And then the sister said, "I like your colored pants," because she's the
I
one
like your
that had
pants.
the
Yeah.
light green pants. Like she's like, thanks. And then of course
She flatters her first. She's like, "Hey, you're like such a badass. I love you so much. You're amazing." And she's like,
she's trying to
"Thanks.
kiss
I
her
like
ass.
your pants."
And then we have the big action sequence, and that sequence
Right.
was like seen in the theater because like if you're like if it was it's you can see it blends in, but I think if you see it at home, it's kind of hard to see because it was really dark to see.
To be
Yeah.
honest with you, I was on us whenever Brandy and I were watching it. Even when I'm watching on a 45-inch flat screen TV, I could see everything. To be honest
Okay.
with you, so the lighting and everything was perfect for a small
Mhm.
screen. So for them to do it in the way they did it, I'm glad I was able to see everything. It wasn't a shaky cam. They had the visuals done perfectly
Mhm.
well for that.
And beyond the acrobatics too in the scene, I mean, which were spectacular. Obviously, it's like watching Circus Soleil but with knives.
Exactly.
We see a real moment of character growth too for Shang-Chi, where he's fighting the guy that trained him and essentially abused him his entire, childhood while he was turning him into a killer. And if it wasn't for his dad stepping in, he was going to murder him, and that would have been his first kill. Because the whole reason he ran away was that he couldn't kill, so he
Mm-hmm.
was ashamed to go back to his father. So,
Exactly.
he got out of there. So he was willing to kill this guy like that, and it shows
Yeah.
that over the years, although he's like repressed it from his social life, clearly the torment that he went through and the abuse that he felt like was eating at him to a point where he's willing to do this.
Yeah. And
And
then
then
they travel. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, John.
no, but another thing I want to mention is the martial arts with this scene reminds me of Jackie Chan with the comedy aspect with the martial arts is just perfect for the scene. And then also too, I I forget that the sister's gonna wind up being saved, but I saw this movie twice already, and the first time I had that jaw breaking experience where it's like, oh my gosh, she's falling. What's gonna happen? Then all of a sudden you see Chang Chi's sister wrap her around her legs and brings her back in.
It's Katie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
with Katie, and then you know and then I see that same thing play out again tonight. I'm like, and I forget all about the fact that she saves Katie again, and I had that same effect that happened with me the first time I watched it. So I like the fact that I can go back and still have that same experience that I had the first time. Because
Mhm.
normally with films, if I go back and rewatch something, it's like, oh, okay, I saw this before, or whatever, and I don't have the same
It's
experience.
so refreshing.
Right. It's just refreshing to actually
Mhm.
see it being played out again for the second time, and I still have that experience. So that's
Mhm.
also a plus. But I'm letting you go into the next scene, though,
Yeah.
Charlie.
I was gonna say, what does Marvel have against about like female characters falling for their deaths in the like seriously? Have you not learned? Nobody wants this. Like nobody wanted Gwen Stacy to die the way she died in the Amazing Spider-Man 2. Nobody wanted Katie to protect. Like, luckily, we knew she wasn't gonna die, but still to have that moment. And then, if you haven't seen the new Spider-Man trailer, MJ's fallen same way.
Mhm.
So again, my brother has a theory on that. How I think Andrew Garfield's going to be able to save somebody in
Yep.
that one. That's pretty much how
To
that's going to
redeem
happen.
his character.
Everybody
To redeem
can
his
walk.
characters. Yeah,
But
but
we'll get into that Spider-Man talk on Wednesday.
or after a Red Notice review or whatever.
Mhm.
Right.
So anyway, the dad and taking Sean, Katie, and his sister back to their
Cop.
house, their home, and the dad's telling him, "Okay, the reason I brought you together is we're gonna save your mom. Your mom's been captured by her people." And I'm like, okay. I mean, I didn't buy it, but yeah, that he's just telling that whole story
Mhm.
about like how we have to save your mom. And then I think I thought the visual for this was really cool when he puts the two pendulums into the
Oh
dragon.
yeah.
All the
Oh,
water
yeah.
comes out. Like how that visually that was like it was like they found out for the Matrix. Okay, how do you stop bullets? Okay, how do we stop water? And
Yeah.
that's what they did. I mean, and it was
And it's
phenomenal how they shot
forest
that.
too.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah.
not like it's just water on the floor. It's like so intricate. It's like carved.
yeah,
Mhm.
And you see, I like that. And then, of course, Katie goes, you know what? I wasn't believing in this guy at first, but I just saw a dragon come to life.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to believe anymore. So now you have her kind of on board. Maybe the dad is telling the truth. Maybe
Mhm.
there is some truth to this and
Maybe
everything.
mom
And
is alive, even though we
yeah,
witnessed her get stabbed.
right. And then you wind up finding out there's some flashback scenes of him having the rings on
Hmm.
and stuff like that, and that's when he hears the voice of her saying, wanting to be let out of her kingdom that she was at when he
Hmm.
very first met her, and so therefore now it's up to them to go ahead and let him out. But also
Hmm.
too, I don't. This is also what caused. This is also another thing that happens though with Shang-Chi. Whenever his dad goes, and I don't care if we have to burn her whole village down to get her out. We're
Hmm.
gonna burn us. So you're gonna kill everyone that was all the people that loved your wife, burned to the ground
Hmm.
to save the person you love. I understand that you love the person that you love, but what happens if she happens to be in there and then she sees nothing but dead people that
Hmm.
is related to her? It's just like she's not gonna say, "Oh, honey, thank you for killing all
Yeah.
my relatives. I love you for the rest of my life."
It was
No,
fun.
Yeah.
Bad logic on his end.
right,
But then again,
but
he's not thinking clearly because the rings have really messed up his head. Like
right,
Yeah.
they really it's kind of like
Lord
the
of the Rings.
rings to him was kind of like the chest plate for Tony Stark. It was
Mhm.
killing him. Like in Iron Man 2, that chest plate of his, he was getting poisoning from
Yeah.
that.
Or like
And
the
I
ring.
wonder if those
Photo.
rings are made from the same thing that made that for the first two Iron Man movies that saved Tony Stark. I
Mhm.
wonder if they're made from the same thing. If they're giving him the sickness, I don't know. It's just just a theory. Because again, these rings have been along for centuries apparently,
Mhm.
and so I'm interested to know more. But I wouldn't be surprised if those rings are made of the same metallic that was stopping the bullet from killing Tony Stark.
Could be. Wouldn't be the first time that they've crossed over like that.
Yeah. Well.
Vibranium.
well, there's a lot of
Yeah.
Iron Man 3 references though, if you
Mhm.
think
Oh yeah.
about it.
I'm about to get to the next one. Um,
Well,
they're in their rooms and they hear a voice. They go to see him. What do you know? Oh, it's me, Trevor. What's up? It's
yeah.
Trevor. I'm
Well,
back.
I was about to say, this is right around where we meet the best
Right.
actor in the entire movie, Morris.
Morris. Trevor.
Morris. The
Oh,
performance
I don't
was-
know. I
Trevor
took a
was
bunch.
great.
Yeah,
But
Trevor was great in
Morris,
this
Great.
one. He
that
sucked in Iron
pussy
Man 3,
little
but he
son
was
of a
great in
bitch.
this one.
Oh man, what an
And I like the fact that they played the narrative of having that little short film that we had of him in prison.
Mhm.
And then he goes, "Yeah, I was in this federal prison and everything, and then this guy came and he got me out. So now I'm
The dad
here."
got you out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like Tony Stark killed my former boss. Like he just blew him up. Like he just pretty much nonchalant mentions Tony Stark Iron Man. So we know this is canon because if you mention Tony Stark like that, he's like,
Mhm.
yeah, they made a bunch of money, and then right when they were about to kill me, I did my Macbeth or whatever. And he goes, oh, what have you done? And they loved it, and yeah, that's what I'm doing my performance. Oh yeah, this is Morris, and everybody's like freaked out. It's got no face.
Morris. I would actually buy a little statue or something of Morris. To be honest with you,
Yeah.
because I like
Morris
Morris.
is
Hey, Clint,
Hey,
Hey, sorry I was late.
it's okay.
All good. We're talking about Trevor.
Trevor.
Oh God, I love that character. I'm so happy he was in that movie. Oh my gosh. Uh,
I liked him in this
Love
one.
him.
I didn't like him in Iron Man 3. I thought he was great in this one.
it's great because of the character development he's had. Like in the first one, you didn't realize exactly who he was, like in Iron Man 3, and in this one, it's just like he played more into that character. Like it was amazing. And Morris, oh God, I want a plushie of that little guy so much.
That's what I said. I said the same thing. I want a plushie of him. But
yeah, it was a good lighthearted introduction, an introduction of lightheartedness in the movie because they really used him when it got really dark, so it kind of balanced it out.
Yeah.
but
I'm a terrorist. Try if I know.
But Clint, did you see this in theaters or did you see this on Disney Plus?
I saw it in theaters and then I watched it again on Disney Plus.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
I gotta see every Marvel movie in theaters. I have to.
That's the way I feel. Just with certain events, I wasn't able to, but still,
Yeah.
at least I got to watch it on TV.
Yeah.
But but still, but back over to Morris and everything. Like you said, Charlie. Everybody was scared because of the fact that they were freaked out over him, and then of course Trevor's like, "Well, it's okay. Do not be freaked out by him, because then you make Morris scared." But
Mhm.
overall, I thought that comedic part was really good.
And then it added to the plot. Like Morris was from from where your your mom knew of these characters, so Morris knows how to get to the location.
And so Morris is actually the guide. They get out of there, and then I like how they steal the main bad guy's vehicle. He goes, they took my car. Well, we'll just see about that. Next thing you know, they wind up escaping with his car, and then they're going through the jungle, because then they find out that Morris knows the way. And I like how Morris is actually the GPS, the guide of getting into the jungle. And then you also have the father who's trying to figure out the way to get into the village. So you have two different things going on. They have a faster way of getting into there, but the father's also trying to figure out this puzzle of how to get in there, like a little puzzle maze and everything too. So I liked how they played off of that narrative.
Well, John, you forgot the cool action sequence that got them out of the garage. I mean, I thought that was it was a nice, well shot action sequence. Like the fight sequence, like again, how they shot it again is just. I mean, I gotta emphasize the point. They know what they're doing with this. Like, I need to see them do another one, like in terms of the action, because they gotta like up the ante in terms of the fight sequences for the sequel. But yeah, that was a cool sequence. How they got out of the garage and how it was like a split second. You need the guard's arm to get through the door, and then you see right when the door closes, the other car crashes. So I was like, okay, cool. They didn't have explosions for the sake of explosions.
Oh yeah, and the chase sequence was amazing. The fight sequence was amazing. I think the best part, like my favorite part, was when they were driving through the forest with Morris. Like that driving sequence was awesome. Yeah.
But like I said, I like. No. Go ahead.
I love when they pop through too from the forest, and then obviously find the gates to Talo, go through the portal, and when they come out on the other side, you start seeing all of these like mythical creatures of lore.
The Chinese mythical creatures. Yes. I loved it. The Nine Tails, the tiger dogs,
the phoenix.
Yeah. Right. It was a beautiful sequence.
It definitely was.
It was really stark contrast from the dark that was happening before, and then you jump into the light of that mythical area and everything like that. It was a really good way they filmed that.
I did like the line by Trevor earlier on when they were sitting there waiting to go before Morris gave them a signal, and talking about like how I wanted to know what I wanted to do with my life. My mom and I were sitting watching Planet of the Apes. And a bunch of them, he goes, the monkeys in this one are like that crazy. And I turned to my mom, and he goes, how'd they do it? He goes, oh, honey, they're just actors. And he goes, how they're able to ride horses or somehow, I forgot.
Monkeys able to ride horses.
Yeah, how'd they teach the monkeys to ride horses?
Honey, they're just actors. And that's how I knew right there that I wanted to be an actor.
Just like monkeys.
I mean, I just thought that sequence was just like, what? It was a nice lighthearted moment. It's like, okay, you can go now. Morris gave you the signal. Like, yep. So it's just talking about monkeys, and then, yep, okay.
Just hopped right into it. Yep.
Hop right into it.
And I like the action sequence with the jungle trying to eat them up yet again. And then Morris is telling them to go left, go right, go this way, go that way. And then finally, as they're sliding through the portal and everything, Morris said that we're here.
Great job, everyone.
Great job, everyone.
And then you wind up finding Shang-Chi's aunt who's in there. At first, everybody's very standoffish because they're not even supposed to be there or anything like that. They're ready to fight and they look like they're pissed off because somebody broke through. which you can't blame them because that portal was supposed to be there for a reason. It kind of has that Wonder Woman kind of vibe to it, where nobody else, no other person's supposed to be breaking through the barrier.
Did anybody else want him to like walk up to his aunt and be like, "Hey, auntie"?
I wish. I wish.
Right. And this is what I said to Brandy. I said, because they got the perfect person to play the aunt, because the aunt looks identical to the mother. I was like, she's alive? She goes, no, that's the aunt. I'm like, I looked at her, I'm like, oh.
No, it's okay, John. I thought the same thing. I thought the mom was alive because we didn't see anything that says that she's dead. And then when you see the aunt, I was like, oh, okay. When she mounts, oh, I'm your aunt. I thought Michelle Yeoh was great in this, but I feel so bad for her because she's always typecast. She's always typecast as in like in these movies. She's always typecast as the Asian martial artists, and it's no credit to her because she's awesome at it. Like anytime, like so, it's a good typecast. But I just have to mention, I feel so bad because she's probably so typecast, but at that point, she can do whatever she wants in her career. She's been in everything for the most part. But yeah, I thought she was great as the aunt. I mean, she knows how to kick ass. So
yeah, she definitely does, and I like the conversation between her and Katie as well, and stuff like that. They just have that connection right there, where she just basically just welcomes them home with open arms and everything. And then Shang-Chi winds up telling him, hey, look, we need to go ahead. My father's coming to burn this place down to look for my mom. He thinks that my mom is here. And then she tells him, of course, the 10 rings is the reason why he thinks that the mother is still alive, because it possesses what they want, what the person wants the most. And then, of course, the sister's there with them, too. That's another thing we forgot to mention, is the sister is actually with Shang-Chi as well. And, you know, of course, I like the fact that it's this family reunion between them, and they haven't seen each other for years. And then, of course, she meets up with Katie, and then there's just like this instant family bonding time before
Vin
battle.
Diesel should be in this movie because it's about family.
Have a Corona.
No Corona. It's just like it's all about family. It's okay. You don't turn your back on family.
Right.
It is a Disney movie.
It is.
Yes.
But, I really liked it because that sequence specifically, because I mean, yeah, it was heavy on plot and exposition and all that, but it really pulled together what was happening and why the dad was doing so much stuff, because he wasn't actually like, I mean, he was a bad guy, but he's not like a bad guy. You know what I mean? He's a very sympathetic villain. To the point where you don't even, I wouldn't even consider him full-heartedly a villain, but more like an antagonist.
His motives are understandable. Not just
his motives are great,
but
his motives are understandable. We can't justify what he's doing, but why he's doing it makes sense. I mean, I looked at my friend. I went and saw it with my cousin, and I looked at him, and at the end of the movie, I was like, you know, the dad was kind of just like ultimate simp level. Just because he was willing to, you know, release an existential elder god just in hopes he might have his wife back. But, you know, it's understanding why he did it. It's just, I found it hard to not like the villain, you know what I mean? And understanding why he was doing what he was doing. Like, he was basically being brainwashed to do what he did.
He was great, though, as the villain, though. I thought Tony Lung, the actor that portrayed him, fantastic in this. Again, we haven't had...
perfect.
Yeah,
perfect.
I thought it was really good to see him in that, because, again, I was telling Nick and John earlier on, the movie that I saw him in first was Hard Boiled, a Chow Yun-Fat, a very young Tony Lung, which is a fantastic action movie, by the way. But he was great in this, and I thought, because the MCU, then again, a lot of movies in general, we haven't had good antagonists or villains. Like, Loki's kind of like... He's back and forth, so you can't really call him a villain, but we haven't had, like, because he was great, though. Tom Hiddleston's great, but we haven't had that iconic villain that's actually, like, not just a superhuman being, but he's human, but he's got powers in a sense. So we haven't had that in, like, I mean, geez, DC doesn't even have that.
I mean, I would argue possibly Killmonger.
Killmonger is what I was going to say.
Killmonger is a great villain.
Yeah, but other than that, we really haven't had a whole lot.
Yeah.
Villain-wise.
Not just in comics, but just in movies in general. Like, not many that good villains in a long time. So it was nice to see that. And
having the sympathetic villain, it was almost Darth Vader-esque the way that you felt for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that scene where they come into town and get that exposition drop, because that was a heavy exposition drop. Really made his character full rounded, and the later sequences that you see him, it explained a lot more about his character.
Then also too, the group, like I was saying before too, I like how they go into the origins of how they're gonna take these people down with the dragon scales and stuff like that, and how dragon scales is actually good for killing the beast that's behind the door in case the father does breaks through that barrier wall. I liked it. I liked that whole entire thing. Right? I like that. I like them explaining stuff to us.
Yeah.
In story rather than flashback. It adds more to the movie instead of just like
they set up the battle well.
Exactly. Yeah. I think they set up the battle really well, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Clint. Sorry.
Go ahead, Charlie.
I was about to say, and then I just loved the moment of Katie helping out the old lady with when she dropped all the arrows, and then the lady hands her all the arrows. Well, guys, I guess I'm going to target practice. Like again,
good thing she does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
I mean, she became an expert archer in 24 hours. You know.
Yeah.
You're right.
I mean,
it's kind of like Belichick trying to train Tom Brady for 24 hours on becoming a good quarterback.
I mean, it's funny. There's a set of videos I like watching called "How It Should Have Ended," and they just released one for how it's animated, like animated style, and like again, it's hysterical. But they just released one for this movie Shang-Chi, and they made fun of how it really should have ended. And you see Katie shooting the arrow and then the arrow just goes up and then down in the water, and then she dies. It's like, yep, okay. I guess that's it. That's how it really. What I just learned. I'm not Legolas. I just learned how to do archery in 24 hours. Would you expect me to make that shot? Like, I mean, it's just like I just thought that I mean, again, I just thought it was fitting that they just did it, and we're doing the review for it. But how it should have ended videos are hysterical videos. But and they made fun of the Katie thing about, oh yeah, what am I? And then it's a funny video, but yeah, Katie's like, what? I just learned how to shoot arrows for 24 hours. What, do you expect me to be Legolas?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Clint. Sorry.
I lost my thought.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
But the thing that I wish they would have actually showed it when Katie's trying to get that shot of her trying to take down that dragon and shooting it in its neck. I wish they would have actually showed her climbing up a mountain or something to show it, rather than all of a sudden you see the arrow and it goes into the dragon. I wanted to see more from that, to be honest with you, rather than all of a sudden there's an arrow being stuck into the throat. I wanted her to actually try and take that shot again.
I'd try to get a clear shot. If they didn't shoot something like that, and that was just something that they put, on the chopping board when they needed to trim it down.
There was quite a few they did shoot that didn't make it. That's just to keep it under 4 hours.
Yeah,
that's true.
I mean, one of those things,
Like, you don't need to see everything. Like, it's like the fact that she, like, it add more effect to that. The fact they didn't show her. You just see her. You just see the arrow, and then you see her facial reaction saying, "Oh shit." And then again, wasn't really many mountains in there, so she couldn't have. If she went too far away, there was no way the arrow was going to go from a mountain to the grayscale. Everybody would have been dead by then. Like, so I think she was on the ground. Like, but I'm glad they didn't show the process. It just add more to the effect when you realize that she was the one that shot the skate, like the monster in the neck. And just her reaction, it just adds so much. Like, oh my gosh, she's gonna nail the shot.
I
was just gonna help further the point back to moving along in the film.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah,
I was just gonna say another thing I did enjoy about the build-up for that battle was Shang-Chi training with his aunt and learning about that he's not just his father's son, but he's also his mother's son. And just because he's got all these abilities of his father, he also has the abilities of his mother, and learned her fighting style and how to channel the magic where they're from. What was that? In one day. Well, I mean, it would make sense because he has had so much martial arts training in the past. I mean, once you become like an expert in all those different things, it would make sense for you to be maybe not an expert in one day, but get the basics in one day.
Right. And you see, Clinton, I like that aspect though.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, it's like light side, dark side kind of thing. It's like your father taught you this, but let me teach you the ways of your mother, so that way you can have both balances, so that way you can learn how to battle not only your father, but also to help you have more of a little bit better temperament, to when you do battle your father, you'll be ready. So, I like that. And then I said this to my fiance when I was looking at it. I said, he's going to show mercy to his father.
Mhm.
I said, he's going to show mercy to his father first before he winds up killing him, if he kills him. Because that's the way the mother would have actually been, because she showed mercy to him at the very beginning, because she could have easily killed him. But because of the fact that they fell in love and stuff like that, she winded up showing mercy to him. So this is going to be the same way with Shang-Chi. Then you finally get the whole entire thing played out with the war scene. And then then this is what happens, and then the father and him starts fighting, and then next thing you know, Shang-Chi gets blasted with the rings, and he's in the water this whole entire time. And so the father goes over to where the barrier is, and of course he's over there trying to get it open, and then these other soul-like demons winds up sucking the souls out of everybody that's down on the ground to feed off of this big, huge dragon. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And whenever I saw the person that abused Shang-Chi at the very beginning, I was thinking maybe Shang-Chi might kill him instead, but then the Soul Leaders winded up taking his life instead. But, I thought that was actually pretty interesting. It's like, oh, okay, so this goes even darker than what I thought.
Yeah, no one's safe.
No.
Those things touch you once, you're done. And then the big guy comes out.
Yeah, there's Dementor. They're like the MCU's version of Dementors.
That's exactly what my wife said.
It makes sense.
Yeah, the scene I liked before the battle was how the not so comedy scene is when Shang-Chi's revealing about how his mother died, and Katie's there because again. Awkwafina's known to do. She does obnoxious comedy, but the fact that she didn't say a comedic line that whole sequence, okay, I liked her in this movie because she didn't do comedy for the sake of just doing it. She waited to the right time to do it when it was appropriate. She read the room, and that sequence was read the room. Don't do a sly comment to get the audience laughing because it'll kind of take you away from the scene because it's an intense scene. When you find out how the mom died, defending the two kids, and the father wasn't there, and she took out almost all of them, and yet she died at the same point. But again, that's what I just wanted to give credit to Awkwafina. She was great in this, and again, she didn't do comedy for the sake of doing it. She chose the right times to do it, and that was the one part I was really afraid of when I was seeing the trailers when she was in it. That she was just going to be funny the whole time.
Yeah.
When it's not meant to be funny.
But yeah, most definitely. I wasn't. Here's the thing. I don't know too much about her comedic side or anything like that to give an analysis on how funny she is or anything like that. But the fact is, they did balance her character out to where, when it was time to be used for the comedy aspect and everything, it actually worked.
Yeah.
So.
And they're really good about that, using comedic actors in dramatic roles and vice versa. Their directing team's gotten to the point where they can pretty much direct anybody to do anything.
Anything.
Pretty much.
I
mean, they got Vin Diesel reading "I Am Groot" 500 different ways. The guy's got.
He volunteered for that role.
I know. Yeah. And there's an actual script of what Groot's actually saying. He just says "I am Groot" with that, but that's a whole other thing. We're talking about Shang-Chi right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Just don't ask Patty Jenkins to do an MCU movie. She'll put a fake prop baby in the movie when there's not meant to be one.
But yeah, one thing I really enjoyed was that final conflict, because first off you have the Mandarin's army. You got the Ten Rings going against the people in town, and then out of nowhere the Soul Eaters come in, and then everything has to change dynamic wise. So you see some people not able to make that change.
Yeah.
And you see this guy that's built to be this badass, that masked assassin guy that trained Shang-Chi, just get taken out. Like the guy gets murked. He's just done, like instantly, no fight whatsoever. And that kind of gets everybody like to snap into it, like, oh yeah, we need to work together now.
Machete Arm holds his own for a little while.
Yeah, he was supposed to die.
He was too cool.
There was a deleted scene where he did die. But I will say this, like, the final climax between the dragon and the big demon and everything, it kind of drew away from what the rest of the movie did, which was like it's a lot more of a grounded film throughout. Which, I love big explosions, but I was going like, they're going really hard on this grounded martial arts film. And then at the end, it was your stereotypical superhero CGI fight fest.
Are you hating on the dragon?
I am hating on the overabundance of CGI.
They couldn't find a real dragon for you?
I love the dragon.
I can see him going, you know what? I loved everything. But you know what this thing needs? A real dragon.
It needs a real dragon, and it needs
those portals weren't real.
No, but I'm saying, like, that film, I don't know. It's just the over-reliance of CGI to make people really excited for a film is what got me. Still, it's the best Marvel movie we've had since Ragnarok, and I'm not complaining about that. Top 3 Marvel films in my mind. But
over Endgame,
everything you said is spot on, except
because I like the dragons too. Although I'm a huge,
I love the dragon. I'm a
nerd.
big nerd. I play Dungeons and Dragons. I love dragons. I'm giant.
Man, it's my dice set right here for D&D.
I have my dice right here. But I'm also big into the Cthulhu mythos with all that type of stuff, and I'm big into Asian lore, Chinese and Japanese. But it's just, I don't know, the CG, too much CGI. Like the explosions with the rings, the overabundance of just lights flashing everywhere, plethora of color, just. They could have toned it down, just like they cranked it up to 13 at the end, and they could have done.
Didn't that kind of make you feel like you're in an anime movie, though?
Yes, but I'm not watching an anime. It's exactly what they're going for.
Especially in the beginning, like when he's charging on his horses, making the force field around him.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what they're going for.
You're supposed to be able to see all that. There's a reason it's all flat.
I know exactly why it's there. It's just 90% of the film is more grounded, and 10% of it is not. It kind of meshes with the motif you got people going with.
Isn't the Eternals nothing but CGI for the movie, most of the movie, though?
We're not talking about the Eternals right
now. I know we're not. I don't plan to see it. It looked bad anyway.
It was a good film. It was good. It was good. It's not the best. I'm not putting it in the top 15 Marvel. But it was better than Dark World.
Did the one guy remind you of Homelander from The Boys?
No, it was more. He was more. Icarus was more of like a poor man's Superman.
I get Homelander vibes from him. I was like, yep.
No, it was a good film. It's not the best. They've done a lot better, but it's better than Dark World. Better than Iron Man 2. So.
And it's because of Iron Man 2 we got the Avengers. So I mean that's how I credit Iron Man 2. Because of Iron Man 2 we got the Avengers. So that's how that's what
and Eternals is getting us a couple other things, like I won't spoil anything, but one of my favorite obscure characters is getting his own thing now because of Eternals. So
okay. I already know what happens, but I'm not going to say anything on here.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we're spoiling Shang-Chi, not Eternals.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So after all that is happening and stuff like that, we wind up having the battle between Shang-Chi and the father. And I love the battle between them two, because now the father is even lopsided with the fact that he knew some stuff that he learned from his aunt, because now before he thought it was just going to be an easy battle because all he knew was the kung fu that he taught Shang-Chi, but to know that the mother taught him some air elemental kind of stuff with the way that she did things with the environment and stuff like that they live in, like using what am I thinking of? Like earth, wind, You know what I'm
You
talking
mean
about.
Avatar: The Last
Elements?
Airbender?
Using the elements?
Yeah,
Or-
using the elements of where they're from. I thought that was really good.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
so the father is even like, "Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, so now you're not only learn from me, now you learn from your mother. So now he's having to figure out a way to now stop him. And of course, Shang-Chi winds up using his own power, his father's own power against him with the 10 rings. Because now Shang-Chi formed his own 10 rings. And even though he could kill his father, he stops. And he said, "Stop. Mom's not in there. You need to stop what you're doing."
Hmm.
And the father's being relentless. He's not stopping. And for a minute there, I feel a little bit of a Killmonger kind of vibe going on
Yeah.
with that whole entire thing,
Hmm.
where Michael B. Jordan is trying to try not to kill him, but at the same time, this guy is dangerous enough to where the point is that he has to put an end to him. And that's how I feel like with Shang-Chi. That's how I feel about that. What about you guys?
I feel, well, I love the fight, first off. The choreography was amazing. And you could feel the emotion because Shang-Chi's like torn this whole time. Like, he knows he needs to beat his father and possibly kill him, but part of him is hoping that he can save his father.
Hmm.
And it really brings a lot of Return of the Jedi vibes
Yep.
into there. Um, and any other father versus son conflict because there's been so many, but it definitely you can see that Star Wars inspiration, along with a couple of anime, um, like it, like I'm sure nobody. I mean, maybe some of you would get it, but a lot of Naruto versus Sasuke in the original Naruto anime, the last couple episodes when they're fighting at the two Hokage summit. But just somebody that really cares about somebody that's way past safe. And then you see when Shang-Chi does get his own rings, where his father's using those for damaging and hurting and killing. Shang-Chi's using them for avoidance and deflection and parrying and protecting himself. So it's even he has his own father's powers and he's using his father's weapon in a way that his father doesn't. And you can see that he's slowly earning the respect of the rings. Like the rings are starting to choose him over his father until the end when he's like, I have them, all of them.
Well, that's something important about the rings too. That's mentioned earlier when we're learning about them from the mother is that the rings give you what your deepest desire is, right? So in Shang-Chi's case, it's avoiding violence and avoiding killing. So naturally, it's going to enhance his deflection skills and his abilities to block things and keep things at a distance from him, which is why he's got so many projectile moves and things like that. Whereas the father, he's all power, so naturally a lot of electricity within his power and his moves, and he's strangling people with the electronic, vines that are being created across every one of his attacks. So you really see the character personality drawn out from whoever's wielding the rings at that time.
Exactly. And towards the end of the fight, his father knows he's beaten.
Mhm.
And then the fight actually doesn't end there. It ends when the gate's broken. His father uses his last attack to break the gate. And then his father does do the whole. He sacrifices himself to save Shang-Chi, which does show that the father actually loves his family. He's capable of love. It's just he's been blinded by guilt and resentment and anger and loss. And the fact that the mother, he's been thinking he's been speaking to the mother whole time, that's fueled that because obviously he got over it at some point. And then she started speaking to him again. And then it just opened up a lot of close wounds. And then when he sees that monster, he realized, well, I fucked up. And
That's actually exactly how he says it.
yeah,
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 he's allowed one F word in this movie.
Not in
well,
MCU though. That's the
but-
only.
It's canon.
It's canon now. But yeah, he sacrifices himself and gives Shang-Chi the rings because he realized at that moment, even though he possibly was strong enough, he realized that Shang-Chi deserved it. Shang-Chi, the world was better off having his son than him. and it was time for his son to inherit everything. And that's how that ended. And it was a very emotional scene, really great fight sequences, the choreography amazing, and the emotion was in it. You could see the actors portraying the emotion of the fight during that fight. Because a lot of martial artists, they don't talk when they're fighting. And you're able to communicate through body language and how you're fighting. And that's what was happening right there. That fight was communication. They were having a conversation.
Mm-hmm. The art of the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And then after that winds up happening, we have this. Of course, we wind up seeing yet again with Katie, and also too with Sean now at the table. Yeah. So what did you guys do? We saved the world from from dragons and soul eaters and stuff like that, and that's how we spent our day. And they're just like, okay, whatever.
And then Wong shows up.
Yep.
My boy Wong.
Good old Wong.
Like, and you're like, oh, you're
Played
gonna
by
get
Benedict Wong.
Yeah, you're getting back at me for what I said about you. Like, you seriously say the word, like, the skeptical person, and then all of a sudden you see the portal, and she goes, "What are you guys looking at?" Like, she's the total Karen at the dinner table, and then you see the portal, and he's like, Shang-Chi, hi, oh, hi, yes. So he goes, and he takes her drink and just chugs it, and then he goes, "All right. You too. Yeah, you need to come with me. You as well." Okay, we're gonna go. I'll text you later. And then they go for the portal, and then the credits roll. I don't think that music fit well for the credits. I thought that was a really like poor choice for music for the credits. It just kind of took me out of it. I was like, I just watched a pretty serious martial arts movie, and yet you want to incorporate rap into it? Yeah, no.
I didn't.
That's been the soundtrack. The soundtrack was fire.
There was really good rap throughout the movie.
There was rap throughout the whole movie. I mean, that bus fight.
There was Chinese rap.
Yeah, it was Chinese rap.
Yeah.
But it didn't work for the credits for me.
It worked perfect. It followed the flow of the whole film, and I will never that was the best soundtrack for a Marvel film besides.
I prefer the CGI that was used in the dragon sequence than the music at the end.
But my question is this: how can it take you out of the film when the movie's actually over?
The movie's done.
The movie's done.
I don't know. Sometimes the poor choice in credit sequence music kind of takes you. I don't know, John. Jeez. I mean, I thought the music at the end of Aquaman was kind of weird.
I'm not really immersed into the credits, and that's coming from me.
I'm not either. It's just I enjoyed the movie. I don't know. It just took me. The music just took me out of the credits for a second.
Man, that's how it's not a 5-star film, guys. The credits music just wasn't it.
I mean, this never was a 5-star movie for me anyway. It's a good 4.5 maybe, but it wasn't gonna be 5 stars.
Yeah, the parking was bad, so 3 stars.
The parking was bad. Yeah, the popcorn was a little stale.
And of course, it's a Marvel movie, so you gotta expect post credits. And then the first post credit scene was a pretty good one. It picks up when the movie lets off, and you see they're talking about the rings. And then you hear Banner, so you hear Bruce Banner's voice. Then you see Mark Ruffalo as human Mark Ruffalo with the sling in his arm. So you know this takes place after Endgame, I guess, because you want to see the sling.
But he's not Hulkman anymore.
No, he's not Hulkman. So I'm interested how that changed. But anyway, and then you see Captain Marvel. Them talking about the rings, and they said it's gone back for centuries. And then Brie Larson or Captain Marvel gets a beacon. Yeah, I gotta go. Banner also has my number,
right?
And I don't have her number. She doesn't.
I mean, they get a lot into it though, like explaining that it's not from Earth, not from anything in the galaxy. So that begs the question: is it from a multiverse? Which most likely it is, considering that's what the idea of this phase is. We have Multiverse of Madness, we have Scarlet Witch messing up with reality, we have Loki messing up with timelines. So even if it isn't from another universe, it could be from another timeline. Yeah. The rings definitely are from another timeline, which makes you think. And they're sending off somewhat of a beacon, is what it was saying inside of there, which is a very major plot point.
Well,
so something from where they're from is going to come in for the rings.
And I said earlier on that since the rings themselves, what they're made of, I think that I was just saying the type of metallic that kind of made the father really sick. I wouldn't be surprised if that's the same metal that used to protect Tony Stark from like when he first had his chest piece in Iron Man 1 and 2 before he found that. Maybe. I don't know. It's just a theory.
I don't know. I think they're trying to get away from Tony Stark. They've relied on him too much, so it's probably not that. Also, they don't glow like that, and like.
No, but I was just not the exact same thing, but maybe something similar because obviously the father was really mentally ill because of the rings, and then like the effects on his hands. I don't know. I was just saying that maybe that caused something to. Again, it's just this theory. Suspect.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
John, you do it all the time, so I figure
While
I
we're
should
on theories,
But
tell Brimmore.
but I know Nick.
What?
I know that you have to hop off here
Yeah.
pretty soon, though, man. Is there anywhere that people can reach you at and follow you at if you want? I'll let you do your plugs and everything before we close out too.
You can find me at Nick Kafkis or NC Kafkis at Instagram. And yeah,
That's
check it
it.
out.
All right. Well, man, I do appreciate you being on the show, Nick, as always, and everything. It's always a pleasure to have you on. I just want to say that too, and congratulations on getting finished with one of your projects that you just got done doing.
Oh yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate
And we're gonna have to talk about that later on.
Yeah, the project he's referring to is called Glass, which was just selected for the Stockholm Short Film Fest. So,
Congratulations,
my boy. That's my
It's
boy
also
right there.
congrats.
Just make
We're
sure that you have a
international
real
now.
dragon in there, so that we get a 5-star review from Clint.
yeah.
Oh yeah. I need
But anyways,
two dragons.
2 dragons. But anyways, man, congratulations to you. I'm happy for you. I'm looking forward to having you on here for the next one.
Appreciate it, guys.
Not a problem.
Have
Have
a
a good
good
rest
one.
of your night. See you.
See ya.
See ya.
Well,
But I like the end
But-
of that sequence, which I thought was funny about like, all right, your lives are gonna be changing forever now. Go out and get some rest. And then Sean goes, or and then they're sitting in Hotel California getting drunk.
I love
love
that.
it.
And Wong is over there singing with them and stuff like that.
well,
That was
that's
a perfect.
Wong. That's Wong.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect Wong.
And
Yes,
to
it's
be
perfect
honest with
for Wong.
you, that's actually I was actually surprised that they didn't close out the movie with Hotel California Hotel, with that song
Yeah.
by the Eagles. I'm surprised they didn't
Yeah.
close out with that.
Well, they went with their normal because it was that this film was very much like Asian American empowerment. So obviously
True.
they're going to go music like China pop or K-pop or
True.
something of that nature.
That's true too.
Now, the end credits that's the most impactful was the one about the sister. Now, she is in charge of the entire Ten Ring Syndicate.
Yes.
And that is horrifying because, like, she's not like her father where she's evil, but she's definitely not a good person. We can all agree with that. She's a criminal. She's
a criminal.
Like, she's not an evil mastermind. She's not like out to rule the world or whatever, but she's definitely a criminal. And like that's kind of horrifying in a way. Because when you think about it, this is Marvel's equivalent of the League of Shadows from DC.
That's
And
true.
Well, one of them. Marvel's got like 5 major assassin organizations or whatever. You got Daredevil's whole group that he deals
Yeah,
with.
you have like the Yakuza and all that.
Yeah,
other
you got
stuff.
the Hand and all that. But
The
these guys,
Scroll or something. I think I forgot that it's been a while since I've seen the Daredevil series. Is it the
The Hand.
The Hand. There we go.
And the
The Hand.
Yakuza.
Yeah.
But these guys are more like mystical than the Hand are. But like that's horrifying, and the fact that she's associated with people like Abomination. We saw that she's associated with Abomination. She's got Vibro Machete guy now. She's got all these criminals, and she's got people that have the Centipede virus from Iron Man 2. She's got she's got all the she's got a couple Black Widows. Like she's got a vast network of deadly people working for her that she had already on top of the 10 rings that she now has. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out in the future.
You see, I think that's actually I want to bring that up too, because I like the fact that you have a woman who's in power, on this thing, and she's also deadly. If she's also deadly. Let's just put it this way: she's a deadly person with all these people that's working for her. But it could also be used in a superhero or a hero's perspective, though, too, where maybe they have to make a deal with her. It's like, you know what? I think I have just the person for the job that you need to have someone that's tough and everything to be on your side. So let me go in and pull from my catalog of villains that I have here.
She's definitely an anti-hero.
Yeah.
Which is probably the most dangerous thing because you never know where their allegiance is going to lie at any given point in time. And I think that what she's going to be more of is like a broker of sorts that gets brought in at some point. She might not be like a major villain or major hero, but she's definitely going to be somebody that can get you in touch with somebody. And I think that's how they're going to, because they've been slowly working on the idea of the Thunderbolts, by recruiting different characters throughout. Like in Black Widow, she was recruited by the new Black Widow. Black Widow's sister was recruited.
Yelena, like Val. Yelena, yeah.
Yeah, Yelena. They recruited the Patriot from the Captain America series, and now they're definitely going to pull from her because she's got Abomination working for her, and he's always been a staple member of the Thunderbolts. Yeah. So that's definitely something that's going to get going.
I wonder if that's the person that Sharon Carter contacted at the end of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier series about, so do you want to know all the S.H.I.E.L.D. secrets? I don't know if she's playing double agent with them, if they knew something again, because it seems to be all connected. Sharon Carter could know something about that as well. Oh, John. Yeah. He's having tech issues. It's fine.
Okay. But yeah, I think that's definitely something that can be going. It's just something that'll be interesting.
I think if it's either Armor Wars with Rhodey, this might be figuring that, or the Secret Invasion with Nick Fury.
I think Secret Invasion might be it. Because, I mean, if you look at comics, that's a whole lot of stuff that changes up a lot of different relationships and power dynamics.
Yeah.
But it's definitely, I will say, Shang-Chi, top 3 Marvel films of all time. Love it.
Definitely one of my favorites. It's hard for me to do a rankings on which ones I like the most, but it ranks up there with Ragnarok for me, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't want to do a scoring on it because I feel like if I do a scoring on it and it doesn't meet up to other people's expectations because of me having a high standard on how I like it, that person might not have the
same experience. You don't want to overhype it.
Right, I don't want to overhype it or anything. But I think it's a great
I tell people that haven't seen it, great film regardless. I don't care if you think it's perfect, you're still going to have a great time. It's going to be a great ride. You'll love the film. Maybe you won't love it. Maybe you'll just like it. But it'll still be worth watching.
Definitely.
You don't have to score, John. I will. I give it 8.5 out of 10. I mean, that's for me. I mean, you don't do the scoring. I will. So yeah, I mean, it's solid. It's gonna probably be definitely my top 10 of this year.
It's in my top.
Is it?
9.5.
Is it my Is it my top 3 Marvel movies of all time? Not necessarily. I mean, it's in the top 5, but I just
that's good enough. That's good enough.
I got
There's 30 of them. So.
Civil War. I mean, I have the first Avengers, Civil War, and Winter Soldier and Civil War. Those are my top 3 because the Winter Soldier really changed the game for Marvel movies for me, and Winter Soldier is just such a good movie. And Civil War, badass film.
Civil
it's so
War,
good.
It had a lot of points that made it difficult to watch at points. And that's just because they tried to splice so much together into one film. And they had multiple backstories they had to flesh out for a single film, which made it very difficult. But I can see how. I mean, that's still my top 5. So.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't. That's where I have it. Yeah. But again, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, it's
I can
a good Marvel movie. It's a lot better than some of the other ones I've seen in the past. But I mean, I can't fully rank it, but I just know I have other ones ahead of it. Winter Soldier for me is definitely in my top 3 because the Winter Soldier was so good.
But yeah, I give this film 9.5. Like I said, just the overabundance of CGI at the end is the only thing that kept it perfect.
You know what? I'm gonna rank as well. So I'm gonna go with like a 9. I'm gonna go with a
Come to the dark
9.8.
side.
9.8. 9.8.
Yeah.
Okay. So that gives it average a solid 9.
Right, which is a fresh.
Probably 9.1 honestly. I'm sure Kafkis would agree with the 9.5s to the 9.8 region as well. But yeah,
8.5.
yeah, definitely above that. But yeah, great film. One of the best ones of this year. The only film that hasn't beat is Dune. Otherwise, perfect.
I got No Time to Die. I really love that movie above this one in terms of my rankings. The action sequences for No Time to Die, I was seriously impressed with how they filmed it. But
I still need to see it.
Me too. I'm the last James Bond movie turned me off from this one. I know I need to go watch it just because it's the last James Bond they're going to do for
I saw Spectre in theaters, and I was disappointed with myself for watching it.
Won't after watching this one. It fills in a lot of This movie fills in a lot of gaps in the backstory of Melanie, a Swan. You find more about her back history in this one.
Okay.
But no, this one is.
I'll wait for it to be out of theaters.
It's already on. It's on demand now.
But I still have to pay.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
But anyways, guys. So, with that being said, what do you guys think of Shang-Chi? Tell us in the comments below on what you guys think of it. Also, to give us a thumbs up to let us know what you guys think of this review that we did. Also, to Clint, where can everybody reach you at in case anybody wants to get in touch with you or follow you and all that other good stuff?
Well, you can follow me at R&R Productions 93 on Instagram, our R&R Film Productions LLC on Facebook. If you didn't catch that in the name, I'm a filmmaker. I do a lot of film work. If you're interested in learning how to do film or hiring somebody or just looking for somebody to mentor you, I'm available in my DMs on Instagram and Facebook. I have an email address, though it doesn't get checked more times than once a day. It's rnrproductions93@gmail. Other than that, I don't give out my personal stuff, so there's my professional stuff.
Okay, so with that being said, guys, go on ahead, like, subscribe, do all that other stuff. Also, too, click that little bell on the bottom right-hand corner to allow you guys to know that we have some new stuff coming out. Matter of fact, in a few minutes, Charlie and I are going to be doing a trailer reaction to a horror film that I was actually a part of. And I was actually the editor and screenwriter for this film. Matter of fact, I was actually the editor for the screenplay for this film. And it was also written by Creighton Hobbs. It was also directed by Creighton Hobbs. So, stay tuned for that in a few minutes. But tomorrow night, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, Beth from Made for TV Podcast is going to be joining me for us to review the 1985 Michael J. Fox movie Teen Wolf tomorrow night. And also, like I said before, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe. Also, too, if you want to donate to the page, all you have to do is go to www.gofundme.com/Movie Lovers Podcast, and that's how you can donate $5 to $10 over here. But a simple like, a simple share goes a long way over here at Movie Lovers Unite, and that's about it for tonight. I do it. Thank you again, Clinton, for doing that. And always until next time, guys, it's been real, it's been fun, and I can't wait to do this again. And bye bye.